I documented a fight event, and during the shoot I discovered a huge problem that made me lose half of my images. And here's what I was dealing with. Across many of my shots, I was getting this darkening shadowing effect, a darkening band and strip that would appear randomly at different parts of the image. Sometimes it would be at the top, sometimes it would be at the bottom, sometimes it would be right in the middle. And other times it would be completely gone and my pictures came out perfect. So in this video I'm going to break down why it was happening and what I did to fix it. So prior to the fights, I was documenting behind the scenes, doing some group shots and capturing everything before the fight started. And I was having no issues. But then once the fights began, I naturally had to increase my shutter speed. And that's when I began to see the discoloration, the shadow and strip effect show up across many of my images. Now there are a few things that went through my mind of what it could be, so I was trying to problem solve in real time. First I thought it might be something wrong with the camera, and that wasn't the case because it was sporadic, it was very random, and it would appear at different parts of the image, and other times it would be completely gone and everything came out how it's supposed to. So there was nothing wrong with the camera. Then I thought it was something with my white balance. So I went through the white balance settings and I tried to lock in a specific temperature, a specific white balance option, and none of that helped either. Then I went through a few other settings and nothing helped. And outside of that, I had no time to Google search or try to find out the answer. Because fight events are extremely high pace. You just simply document one fight after another and you get no break in between. So I simply decided to just shoot as many images as I could, knowing that that strip, that shadow effect would show up on some of the shots and I would just lose them. But if I had enough volume, then I would still have some good shots in the end, which I did. So after the event, I did a deep dive and I finally figured out what was causing this issue. And the reason I was getting this shadow and strip, this band and discoloration across many of my shots is due to the LED lights present at the event. Because most modern LED lights flicker on and off, and they flicker on and off so fast that we cannot see it with our eyes. So they constantly turn on and off due to the power frequency. But if your shutter speed is very high, which I had to shoot this event at 1/1000 of a second, I was able to catch the off or dimming phase of the flickering cycle from the LED lights. And sometimes you catch the light fully on, and that's when the exposure and the images came out great and perfect and there was no issue. And other times it would catch the in-between off state, which caused the narrowing, shadowing, bending effect. And this will usually happen to you when you're using high shutter speeds. And that's why prior to the event, behind the scenes, before the fight started, my shutter speed was 1/250 and I did not see any issue. I mean, there might have been slight darkening in some parts, but it was not noticeable. And that's why I didn't catch it before. But as soon as the fight started, I had to crank up my shutter speed to catch and freeze the fights and their action. And I usually shoot 1/1000 of a second. And that's when the problem began to appear in the images. So here are a few options of how you can fix it. Number one, you can get rid of the LED lights and the problem would go away. But obviously that's not going to be happening. Number two is to lower your shutter speed. So if you lower the shutter speed to around 1/100 or maybe even lower, this makes the shutter stay open longer and you will avoid catching the on and off states of the LED lights. This will remove most of the shadowing and bending effect. So lower your shutter speed. However, in my case, that was not going to be happening. I have to shoot at a very high shutter speed. So number three, and that one that worked for me and the one that fixed everything, is to enable anti-flicker shoot. And on Canon R6 Mark II, that option is available in the settings. And this fixed it completely. This removed the shadow and bending effect and it never appeared again as soon as I turned this on. So first make sure you are in shutter priority mode or manual mode. Then go to the settings and in the camera menu, the first red icon, choose option number 3, tab number 3, and enable anti-flicker shoot. And after setting this on, the issue was gone. And I was able to document the next event with the same LED lights without having any problems. Not a single image produced a band and shadowing effect. Now a quick note about this setting. When enabled, the shutter release time lag becomes longer and continuous shooting speed may become slower. So the camera compensates to time the shutter release with the LED flicker. However, I personally did not notice any significant lag. So if there is a small time lag, I didn't notice it. And if you do, that's a small price to pay for getting clean shots. There's also another setting you may experiment with. However, in my case, I did not use this and I did not experiment with this. But this setting is high frequency anti-flicker shooting. It allows you to point the camera and it will detect the lighting in the scene, the flickering of LED lights, and it will suggest and set a shutter speed that will remove the on and off switching when the shutter goes off. So it monitors, it registers the lights, and then it produces and gives you the shutter speed to use. However, it will give you a very low and odd number shutter speed. And in my case, I need that high shutter speed of 1/1000. And the frequency anti-flicker shooting, the suggested shutter speed would be just too low. So in the end, enabling a simple option, anti-flicker shoot, solved everything. And the next time I did the same event with the same cage, with the same LED lights, enabling that option completely fixed it, and I did not have any of that shadow and strip effect come across any of my images. And I was able to go through the entire event and capture great shots and not have to worry about it. So I hope this video was helpful, and hopefully it will help you to save some shots and not have to deal with the same issue that I had.